Narcissist, Seduction, Episode 26. Wynne woke and twisted towards his clock. It was 8:20 a.m. He looked at his phone, but there was no golden light flashing. He rolled onto his back and rubbed at his eyes, tiredness still clinging to him. His sleep had been spasmodic. He had stayed awake until nearly 2 a.m., waiting for a message from Ashley to let him know that she was all right. But there had been none. Repeatedly, he had brought up the number for her mobile and then placed 1471 in front of it in order to mask his own number, in the hope that she could answer, and by the sound of her voice he would know whether she was relatively safe. Each time he had halted his actions, realizing that an anonymous call in the middle of the night would only result in questions for her. Accordingly, he had retired to bed, frustrated and anxious, his mind's eye playing terrible images of what might be happening at her house. He tried to dispel the thoughts as he climbed into bed, but they refused to be shaken away. He had risen and dressed again, having decided to drive down to her home to ensure that she was safe and to have it out with Peter. He could not stand the worry of not knowing how she was and what might have happened to her, or might even, God forbid, be still happening to her. Wynne got as far as the bottom of his staircase and then shook his head, turning back to return to his bedroom. He was too logical at times and wished that he didn't think everything through so much, but rather just acted. He knew how it would look if he turned up, and that Ashley could not leave whilst the children were there. If he tried to take them away, violence would no doubt ensue, and whilst he felt he could handle Peter, he had no desire for children to witness such behaviour. Invariably the police would be involved, and he knew how that would look if he had turned up in the dead of night and got into a fight with Peter. No, he would just have to stomach the dread. Accordingly, he'd returned to his bed and eventually fell asleep, his dreams filled with thoughts of Ashley and her running towards him. Repeatedly he woke and checked his phone to find it silent and still. He massaged his forehead and decided he may as well rise, for he would not fall asleep again. Madam Slumber had evaded him. He made his way to the ensuite bathroom and ran the hot tap. At least he would have some distraction today, as he was taking his nephews to watch the football, and then they would decorate the house for Christmas. That would give him something to do, whilst he waited for an update from Ashley. The daylight was just appearing, dark clouds still holding the sky, and he splashed the hot water across his face, glad of its effect. Wynne looked at his reflection in the bathroom mirror, the water dripping from his face. All he could think about was Ashley. There was a gnawing sensation inside of him, and he knew that it was generated from his concern for her. He wiped his face with his hand and then reached for a towel. He needed a shower and get dressed. The sooner he went about his day, the sooner he would hear from her. Her telephone call came just after 10:30. He had carried his mobile phone with him everywhere as he went about his chores and moving the boxes of Christmas decorations from his loft. "Ashley, are you okay?" "Yes, I'm fine." "Where are you?" "I am parked outside Amelia's tutor's house." "What's happened? I've been worried." "Nothing. Nothing has happened." "He didn't touch you?" "Oh, no. I pretended I was asleep and stayed on the far side of the bed. He must have been tired, as he didn't disturb me." "Thank God for that." "Honestly, don't worry. I've had years of it. I'm used to it." "That's not the point." "Hush. You're getting emotional." "Well, what do you expect? You rang me in a right state last night. You said he was going back to rape you." There was silence. "You do remember last night?" asked Wynne. "Yes, of course. Why wouldn't I?" "Well, you were rather upset." "Yes, well. Anyway, what are you doing?" Wynne frowned. Why was she being so dismissive of what had happened? "I'm just getting the decorations down for when my nephews come round later." "Oh, that's good." "Yes, we're at the football this afternoon." "Okay, I'm going to the theatre with the mums from the school and then for something to eat. I should be able to call you during the afternoon." I might not be able to hear you. The crowd will be loud at the football. Oh, right. Well, I'll try anyway. Sure. Look, are you positive you're okay? Absolutely. Look, it's fine. I've put up with years of abuse from him, Ian. Another day doesn't make a difference. I don't like you speaking like that. You sound like a victim, said Wynne. Well, I guess that's what I am. It's his fault entirely. I know, but not for much longer. Let's hope so. Have you the telephone number for your mother? Yes, let me look it up. Wynne waited and jotted down the number of the apartment in Gran Canaria as Ashley read it to him. When should I call her? He asked. Oh, you can call her any time. Okay, I will do it after I've spoken to you. Thank you. Where's Peter? Asked Wynne. Oh, sat at home playing on his bloody PlayStation. You could see me trying to look after Christopher and do the laundry, but would he move? Oh, no, he just sits there playing that bloody game. When I ask for help, he starts moaning that he has never a chance to relax. I see. Sounds part of the course. I know you wouldn't do that. You'd help me, wouldn't you? Well, of course I would. It's all about teamwork. I won't know what has hit me when we are together, she said. Well, it's about time you had some help. You've managed for too long on your own. I just get on with it. I don't have a choice. Well, you will now. I better go. Amelia will be out soon. I'll ring you later. Okay. I love you. I know. Bye. Wynne turned to the number that he had written down and carefully tapped it in. He waited, and then the different dialing tone began. It rang several times, and finally somebody answered. Hola. Hello, may I speak to Mrs. Kien, please? Que? May I speak to Mrs. Kien, please? Que? Mrs. Kien? There then followed a string of Spanish which Wynne couldn't discern, let alone understand. He repeated the name, and another sentence followed. This was no good. He ended the call, and then called Ashley. Hi, we're just heading home, she said as he answered the phone. Sure, I'll be quick. I think you gave me the wrong number for that shop. Did I? Oh, sorry about that. I'll check and send it to you again when I'm home. Great, thanks. A little while later, armed with a completely different number, Wynne tried again. This time, the telephone was answered in just 2 rings. Hello? Said the voice. Hello, may I speak to Mrs. Kiem, please? Speaking. Oh, hello, Mrs. Kiem. This is Ian Wynne. Ashley said that I would call you. Did she? Yes. Is it a convenient time to talk to you? Yes, it's fine. Wynne could hear someone asking, Who is it? In the background, and then there was the squawk of some kind of exotic bird. I appreciate that this may seem like something of an odd telephone call, but Ashley wanted me to speak to you. Okay. Mrs. Kiem arrived in a non-committal fashion. She's been having a very difficult time of things with Peter. In fact, she has had a troubling time with him for a long while now. She's asked me to speak with you, with a view to us working together to help her. In what way? To extricate her from the situation she finds herself in. I see. Wynne paused. This was difficult. Did Ashley speak to you last night? Yes, she did. She was rather upset. It was difficult getting any sense out of her, to be honest. Yes, she rang me in quite a state and then said she was going to call you and asked me to call you today. Did she explain to you what has been happening? Not really. As I say, it was difficult to understand her. I think she must have been drinking. She did say that she'd had enough and that she needed to get away from Peter. It's happened before. She came to stay with us for a few weeks a few years back. Yes, she told me about that. She said she couldn't take any more of his behaviour, but didn't say what it actually was that had happened. She just kept repeating that she needed to get away. Look, I appreciate you don't know me, and it's a bit strange me ringing you to discuss your daughter's marriage. I know you've known Peter for a long time. I care very much for Ashley, and it's clear that she's been suffering in an abusive marriage for a long time. She's finally found the strength to get out of it and needs our help to do so, explained Wynne. Well, she'll always have our support, she knows that. To be honest, she didn't mention you until right at the end of the conversation. You're one of her friends, then? Asked Mrs. Kiem. Wynne paused. Friends? Is that what Ashley had said? He should have pressed her to know precisely what she had told her mother. "Well, I'm a bit more than that. A lot more, actually. Ashley and I have been having a relationship together." "I see. I appreciate that may come as something of a shock." "Not especially." Wynne hesitated at that remark. "Oh, right. So, what does she want me to do?" "Well, she has repeatedly told me about how Peter is abusive towards her. He shouts at her and has hit her in the past. He won't help with the children and leaves it all to Ashley. He berates her if she's late from work and thinks everything revolves around him. That's just some of what she's told me about. There's more, but I'm not really calling you to list what Peter does and doesn't do. I want to help Ashley." "Well, I must admit, we have had concerns about Peter's temper in the past. We once went round to watch a football match there. We were a little late arriving and the match had already started. United were losing 2-0, and he was on all fours in front of the television, hitting the floor and swearing in front of Amelia." "Yes, well, that seems to be a bit of a theme concerning his behaviour. Ashley has complained that he's been nasty to Amelia on many occasions. I just want to help her. I've never hurt Ashley." "Well, no, you'd have to get through us first before you did that." "Understandably so," said Wynne. "You see, it's been difficult for us too," said Ashley's mother. "Ashley and Peter shunned us." "Shunned you?" asked Wynne. "Yes, we still don't know why. They stopped coming to see us and would not answer the door when we visited. We wanted, of course, to see our granddaughter. Our son lives at the other end of country, so we don't see him and his son that often. We spent a lot of time looking after Amelia, because Ashley and Peter work. We didn't mind. She's a treasure. They got their nanny then, and seemed to dispense with us. As I say, they shunned us for a couple of years, until nearly when Christopher was born." "I see. I wasn't aware of that." "So a lot may have gone on, and we just won't know about it. In fact, Ashley has never said anything to us about his behaviour. Yes, she said sometimes he's short-tempered and a bit self-centred, but nothing as bad as hitting her." Wynne heard somebody muttering in the background. "Do you think she wants us to fly home?" asked Mrs. Kiam. "Oh, no, I don't think so. She just said she wants your support and guidance, I suppose," suggested Wynne. The longer the conversation continued, Wynne felt that he didn't really know why he'd made the call. He'd just agreed in order to make Ashley feel better. "Well, she always has that." "Good. So how long have you two been involved?" asked Mrs. Kiam. "Nearly 3 months, although we've known each other for 10 years. We used to work together at Novo Bank." "I see." There was a pause, and Wynne heard the muttering again in the background. "Well, I just wanted to let you know that Ashley has my support and help in dealing with her difficulties, and I'll totally be behind her." "Yes, okay. I'll tell her that we've spoken, and no doubt she'll give you a call." "She might, but I doubt it." "Oh, right. Well, thanks for speaking to me." "Quite all right. God bless. Goodbye." "Goodbye." Wynne ended the call and sat down. Ashley did say she had a strained relationship with her parents. It was obviously far more strained than he'd have realised. He'd no idea that her parents had been shunned. No doubt this was the doing of Peter as he sought to assert control over his wife. Her mother was pretty cagey with him, but that was understandable. He was the other man, and they didn't know him from Adam. It was interesting, though, to hear that she had witnessed his temper. At least she had an understanding for what he might be capable of. Wynne looked at his phone and noticed that it was close to when his nephews would be arriving. Moreover, Ashley was probably now back at home. He wanted to relay the content of his call with her mother to her, but he would have to wait until she got in touch from the theatre. He toyed with not going to the match to ensure that he could hear her when she called. She was in a fragile state, and he needed to be there for her, but he knew his nephews would be disappointed, so he would just have to keep an eye on his phone and hope that he felt its vibration when she did call.